Welcome to the Spen and Nick Show. It's episode 11. Today we're going to cover the business model canvas. Nick, tell us all about it.
Well, I'm super excited because the business model canvas is an amazing tool that helps us assess our business, get a better idea of it, but also help us think about how we can improve our business. So shall I share what the 9 boxes are?
Yeah, do that. I think it's really important.
So just to give you a bit of context, it looks a bit like this. It's almost like a map of your business. Mm-hmm. Instead of making a long business plan, which you can do anyway, but to start with, it's good to create kind of like a one-page version and really like visualize it. So in terms of the 9 blocks, what you've got is you've got your customer segment, the type of customers you're trying to target, and what they're trying to do. You've got your value proposition, which is kind of like your product and how it helps your customers. You've got your channels, which is how you get your product to your customers, maybe through physical stores or through ads or through social media. Then you've got the type of relationship, so that might be a business-to-business relationship, or you might be going straight to your customer, business-to-consumer. Then you've got your key resources, which are the things that are special to your company that enable you to make your business possible. You've got what you do with those, which is the key activities. You've got your key partners, and then you've got the costs associated with all those things. But equally as well, which I've missed, is your revenue, which is how you're making money. So those 9
critical.
boxes,
That's a pretty important one right there.
Well, yeah, if you don't do that, you haven't got a viable business.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that leads on nicely to the idea that you've got these kind of 4 boxes are all around your desirability. Do they want it, basically? And then these 3 boxes are kind of, can we build it? And then these 2 boxes at the bottom is, well, should we? Are we going to make any money from it?
Got it.
And yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do then today?
Yeah, I think really quickly, if I can. I think that's a really good explanation, by the way. Super quick, probably fastest, but most on point I've seen for a long time, ever probably. But also a really quick question. I've always thought about this as something you do when you first got an idea at the very beginning stages of businesses. I know that's how we see it a lot in the kind of startup world, but there's an argument to say that you use this a lot more. Do you want to talk a bit really quickly about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been to quite a lot of startup weekends and kind of startup events, and it's about people that haven't yet started their business, or maybe on the very early stages of it, and they use it to say, well, this is what I'm aspiring to build as my business model. And that's great, and you can totally use it in that context. But equally, another context you can use it in is going, hey, I've got my business, let's actually reflect on the business and see where we're at. So it's both a vision for the future, but also looking back. But what I would suggest is that you'd create 2 different canvases. Mm-hmm. So one to look back and one to look forward. Because that's the thing, if you put too much information on your business model canvas, it becomes a mess. Yeah. And what Alex Osterwalder talks about, cognitive murder. Right. It's so confusing when you look at it and it's just a mess of sticky notes. Yeah. So what we want to do is try and, as you're creating it, put all the sticky notes down. But then what you want to do is kind of take away the ones that aren't as relevant, so that you're just showing people kind of like a really clear, like straight to the point kind of version.
Brilliant.
Is that helpful?
Really helpful. Thanks so much.
So I suppose we probably should say that we've already spoken through this before recording this.
Yeah. So
that we can hopefully make it a little bit more streamlined for the recording.
Yeah, but we're going to use, again, Future Builders as the example to play out how to do a whole business model canvas. Again, we've gone through it so that we can be as quick as possible, but there's probably going to be some new things as we kind of bounce this around as well. So definitely, yeah, excited to do it for Future Builders again.
No, I'm excited to talk about it because I think this is such a good way to understand a business quickly. And I think we've spoken about Future Builders in a few episodes already, but this episode is going to help people really understand it quickly, I think. And I think just one other thing that's come to mind is that with all of this, and I think this is ongoing throughout the business, but certainly more in the early stages, is that what we're doing is we're actually mapping out the assumptions that we have for our business. So we've made assumptions that, for example, that we make revenue this way and this is a good way to do it, right? Or that we're making an assumption that these are the type of customers that we're trying to go for, and that this is their needs. We're making an assumption this is the best channel. So what we're trying to do is constantly question these assumptions or validate them, basically. So yeah, that's just a point.
And actually, even just getting these assumptions out of your head and onto a sticky note, onto paper, means that you're freeing up that cognitive load. Your brain is there to come up with the ideas, not to store them. Right?
Physicalizing it, externalizing it. I think what David Allen calls it is distributed cognition.
Yes,
well.
yeah. But also it means that you can action some of these things. You can turn those hypotheses into tests further down the line so that you could then do some things like assumption mapping or hypothesis mapping and focus on the things that you're most uncertain about. So I think a super valuable thing.
Definitely. So let's go for it.
Let's do it.
I like to start, you don't always have to, but I think it's good to start with your customers. Start all the way on the kind of not intuitive side, which is the opposite on the right hand side.
Yeah.
So with you, who are the types of customers that you're kind of focusing on kind of problems that they've got?
Yeah, so I think customer wise, we're focused on we're both B2C and B2B. So I just want to kind of hit that difficult barrier straight up front. Yeah. On the B2C side, we're looking for people who are maybe early in their careers. They might be recent graduates, for example. They might be changing towards a different job or quite fresh into a new job, and they need to develop skills in as quick a way as possible. On the B2B side, we're working with or trying to focus on startups and scale-ups. So companies of maybe 10 to 100 people in their teams that are, those early adopters and innovators. I think the biggest thing for me around the people that we're trying to serve, particularly in these early stages, is there's no point for going for those early and later majorities. If you think about the kind of crossing the chasm, the distribution of innovation curve, the bell curve, we're really trying to focus on people that accept that this is an early stage product that might not have all of the kind of enterprise features. And so startups and scale-ups are generally the people that kind of do that. And so that's our target demographic with the B2B.
And you mentioned probably they don't have HR, right?
Yeah, often they won't have HR yet. They're not quite at that scale where they've got kind of dedicated HR teams and certainly not learning and development teams. So this is a kind of a solution that fills in some of those gaps. So for people that want to change skills or develop the skills that they've got, but they might not have someone directly they can turn to within their organization.
Brilliant. Okay. And in terms of the product or the value proposition, that's Future Builders platform. Yeah,
Future Builders platform. I find it really hard to talk about this without talking about the need, the real pain, the problem that we're going to be facing over the next few years. And literally there's 1 billion people that are going to need to radically upskill and reskill in the next 10 years. And without that upskilling, without that reskilling, they will be out of work. And so we're really trying to serve that portion of the population that might be at risk of displacement from their current jobs. What that means from a business perspective is if you don't have people that have the right skills and are able to be productive in the right way with your business, then you're going to be losing your competitive edge. It may mean that your business could be in trouble as well.
I'm hearing you need the right skills at the right time.
Right skills at the right time.
Nice.
Beautifully summed up.
Also, I just want to go back to the fact, which is something that we didn't come up with before this, which is that you said, I think your customer segment is 1 billion people who need to upskill and reskill.
It is, yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, 1 billion could work for us,
Yeah. And in terms of your channels at the moment, what are your main channels for
customer acquisition
and interacting with them? I suppose,
and interacting. Yeah. Okay, so we've done a whole load of experiments. We've talked about that previously on the show about some of the experiments that we've run. We did a lot of ad experiments to figure out what the proposition should be, and that actually worked out really well for our customer acquisition. So we're still using kind of paid channels, more kind of not with a heavy campaign of spending a lot of money, more kind of dripping people into our funnel. We're also using social media. I guess we're doing bits of content. This is this really is content marketing for Future Builders, a lot of what we're doing, but it's also, it's content marketing for the stuff that you do in your workshops and your facilitation as well. So it's definitely...
So this is sponsored by Future Builders.
It's sponsored by Future Builders.
So I'm going to get paid for this. This is good. Sweet.
It's all about value creation, not necessarily monetary value, but it's about value for everyone. We're also trying to build into the product some virality and viral loops. So not only can you create playlists of content, but you can share those pieces of those playlists to anywhere. The easiest way to kind of to figure this out or to kind of bring this to life is you might have a list of 20 books for 2020, right? And you can put that into a playlist on Future Builders and share that through social media, through WhatsApp, to your kind of smaller communities, to Slack channels in your work and your organizations, email, marketing campaigns, all of that kind of stuff that can get out the lists that you're creating of really great content that you recommend for other people to use.
Brilliant. And you mentioned as well around the teams for the B2B side.
Yeah, B2B side. So what often happens particularly with these smaller companies where you've got these innovators and early adopters, they might try something on a kind of free testing the platform out kind of basis, and we're definitely going with our growth angle to get those kinds of people. But then the ideal situation is that they share that internally with their teams at work, and we turn it into a team account, and then they have private playlists for their teams that they can share, and that might include things that are bespoke to that organization, bespoke around their industry, their context, their domain. It might even be internal documentation that they want to share as well.
That's interesting.
So single source of all of that great content that they want to share.
Great. Okay. And then we've kind of done it already, because the very first thing you mentioned around was B2C and B2B. So I think that's the
kind of relationship.
That's the type of relationship, as you say.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything further on that. I think, I can't emphasize enough, when you're creating anything new, when you're trying to create change, we were talking about this very recently about how you create big change in organizations. If you can focus on those early adopters and those innovators, those people that are going to be accepting of and looking actually for change, they want new stuff. That's by their very nature, that's who they are. They're the people that we really want to be focusing on. The difficulty we're going to hopefully have in the next few months and years is going to be, how do we cross over into that early majority and later majority eventually. They will come, but they need those early adopters to really be those advocates of it.
Brilliant. And then so now we're going to go on to the key resources. You don't always have to follow this approach that we're going, or the way that we're doing it.
Yeah.
But key resources, I think you're a key one in this one. Yeah. You're one of the key things.
I guess, yeah. I mean, almost 20 years in the education space, always trying to push a few of those boundaries about what it means to learn really well. I guess I have a
entrepreneurial track record.
An entrepreneurial track record, but also a contrarian belief around how we learn as well, perhaps. So, I believe really passionately that people don't just learn from courses and formal forms of education, but we learn from resources. So that could be great content, but it could also be individual people that you want to connect with. I mean, I've learned so much from you, right? And I'm really lucky that I've got this get a bit into jargon, but personalized learning network where I'm able to go to different people and find different sources of content that help me learn. And I can do that naturally now because I know where those places are. What we're trying to do with Future Build is almost create that for other people. So, yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's got to be in there in the value proposition at some point as well.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
You're also, but I think you rushed just quickly, and I just want to just put it back in, is that you have generated millions of pounds of revenue for startups and companies that you've worked with.
Yeah, the last couple of years, with Makers, we took that from an idea to £2 million of booked revenue inside 12 months.
Yeah.
Really fortunate again with that because we had really good relationships with a lot of clients already that kind of really wanted this thing. It was a perfect moment in time for that. And before that, at Future Builders, I've taken pilots of 20 grand with a big client up to 3, 4, 5 million quid deals based on repeating really good activity and then scaling across.
And certainly what you did at Makers, like, the percentage of people in the population that have done that is so slim. So I think that's definitely a key resource.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you're also venture backed.
Yes, venture backed. So we do have some money. We're actually doing a fundraising round as we speak. Pretty excited about what that's going to be able to do for us. Hopefully accelerate our growth, mean that we can build out the features and products that we really want to be going for, and we can start to move from individuals to smaller businesses and then go upscale. That's what we're looking to do, is move up towards the enterprise space as we build out this bigger platform and bigger set of tools that really help people kind of change their lives and be more productive in work.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you've got your web and mobile app.
Yeah, web and mobile app. So the platform is built. We've got the front end web app, which is we're doing a lot of UX work on it at the moment. We're really trying to get that experience down as good as we can do. And we've also got a mobile app, which I'm hopefully, when this show goes out, actually will hopefully be live in the App Store, both Google and
that's great.
And
We might
iOS.
be able to put a link underneath the YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be
and
pretty awesome.
and Spotify. Are there any way to put links in there?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure out how to
cool.
make sure those links get across. Yeah.
And so key activities, the things you're doing, it's probably building apps is a huge part of it.
Building, engineering work, yeah. So I primarily focus on product, or kind of as CEO, focusing on product and growth as the main two things. So we've got an engineering team. They're building out the designs, from the front end perspective, the designs that I've kind of built. I'm doing the product management. We're building out apps as quickly as possible. And on the growth side, doing a lot of marketing. There's two directions for me here. It's new users and it's retention of existing users and activating those existing users to be really valuable into this. What essentially is a network effects business as well. So for every new person that comes into the platform, they're creating playlists and content and curating great stuff, which means it's adding value, even more value to that ecosystem. So the more people I can get activated to creating that stuff, the better. I'm probably splitting my time, I'd imagine, something around 2/3 on the app building and the product side, and about 1/3 on the growth and the activation side.
And actually, this leads me on quite well with the marketing to talk about revenue. So
Yeah.
How are you making money?
So simple, it's a SaaS business, so it's a subscription as a service. So we're aiming for monthly recurring revenues.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really important thing for us. Essentially, we've got a freemium version as well, so you can access the app for free. We've currently just holding up a wait list, and we're just about to relaunch the product towards the end of this month, early next month. But then the strategy is grow with a whole load of free accounts, get people to really love it, have some additional premium features that people really want, and charge for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first one. That's going to be less than 10 quid a month.
Mm-hmm.
Something like, we're looking currently the model about £6 a month, six to £10 a month. Then there's the team activation. This is where the B2B side of things comes in. So for people in teams, they get access to private playlists for their team. They get analytics, and that's where we see big growth happening. So yeah, it's a subscription service. There's other potential revenue streams that we're not discounting, such as possibly having ads. We could definitely see value in having ads if they're complementary. If they're ads maybe for course providers or for, learning designers that want to kind of share their content. So if it's valuable, we can. I'm not a big fan of that model, but I think it's definitely worth investigating further.
Brilliant. And then, where are the main costs coming from for you?
Yeah, it's people, personnel. It's the biggest costs. Again, I'd probably say it's about 2/3 of our cost base is on personnel,
Mm-hmm.
And about a quarter or so of our cost base is in the marketing.
Yeah, that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the other costs, it's probably associated around marketing, right?
Yeah, marketing, growth. So ads, but also we're investigating things like affiliate marketing or any kind of influencer reach out. So looking at different channels for marketing. There's a small amount, of course, that goes into operations, and you're kind of keeping the lights on.
Cool.
We're lucky at the moment because we've got this partnership network, and we're going to talk about partnerships a bit more, I think. But we've got this partnership network with Founders Factory, which is where we are now. So they're giving us desk space. So some of those additional costs that we would have are kind of part of coming into this accelerator program. But definitely in the near future, we'll be moving out and have to find desk space of our own.
That's going to be scary.
No, it's going to be super cool. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sweet.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier clients as well for partners.
Partners, absolutely, yeah. So we've launched with a few B2B clients already. One of them is particularly exciting for me because they're a people and culture kind of consultancy, and they're working with a huge amount of startups of their own and scale-ups of their own. And so we're already in kind of conversations about how they could become almost like a distribution partner, introducing us maybe to some of their clients, or is it something that they can share directly with their clients? So we're figuring out what that could look like. But early clients, I think, are so key in building those partnerships with, because we're really building the product for them. So we need to be learning as much as we can from those clients as well.
Brilliant. I think what we've got is a pretty good representation of your business model.
That's pretty awesome.
On the business model canvas. Do you mind if I kind of talk you through how I see it?
Yeah, man.
And then maybe
really cool to hear it back. Yeah.
So from my perspective, the customers that you're trying to go for are kind of new in their career or looking for a new career.
Yep.
And actually, you might summarise that as 1 billion people who need to upskill or reskill.
Yeah, exactly. I guess not necessarily just new in their career. We're not just talking about millennials or anything like that. We're talking about a fairly broad people, but the people that we're really targeting that I think really need to have this are the people that don't have that support network currently. So that's definitely
So it could actually be much broader.
It could be much broader, yeah. So I'm always reluctant to kind of go, really niche target demographics.
So therefore, definitely better to say 1 billion people who need to upskill and reskill then.
Definitely 1 billion, but at the moment, for sure, we're definitely, the more important focus for us is early adopters of cool technology things that want to improve their lives.
Okay, brilliant. And that tends to be, again, for now, startups and scale-ups that don't necessarily have HR, probably up to around 250 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. And the product that you're kind of helping them with, or the value proposition is, it's the Future Builders platform.
Yeah.
And what the value proposition is having the right skills at the right time.
Yes.
And currently a lot of that is around the learning playlists,
Yep.
but there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, we've gone, our go-to-market strategy or go-to-market product strategy has been around the playlists idea. But actually I see this very much as a feature with a bigger feature set that we're going to be able to build over the next few weeks and months, that will have recommendations really baked into it, so you get the best content, you get rid of the noise, and you get the signal coming through of what's really important for you. But also things like social aspects, so it's not just about content, but it's about connecting with people. Maybe that idea of like a coach in your pocket, rather than it being like a fitness coach, we're talking about your personal development, professional development coach in your pocket. So yeah, loads of features and functionality.
Talked about a little bit assessment skills.
Yeah, assessing skills, like people don't know what they're good at and what they need to learn. And so we've built already a taxonomy of future skills that we think people really need to have over the next 5 to 10 years, baked in a lot of research from places like the World Economic Forum. And what we want to do is be able to, for people to really quickly and in a highly engaging way, determine the skills that they have and the skills gaps that they have. If you can, and there's a simple thing here, if you can do that for one person, great, that person's going to improve. If you can do that with a whole business, that business would be, it's so valuable for people to know their skills. Business leaders, about 80% of CEOs say that they highlight the skills gap as a top priority for them, but they don't know where the skills gaps are.
So that's going to be key.
Solve that. That's going to be key.
But as we say, though, a lot of this is still assumptions. Like, even though a lot of it's built, still assuming on whether actually it's the right thing at the moment.
And so we're trying to test a lot of these assumptions kind of constantly.
Brilliant. And so the key channels are through paid campaigns on social, but also a lot of content marketing through the playlist links, and also you could maybe class this as a channel through the team accounts, where people, like the businesses that buy it, then pass it on to the employees, but then they're maybe using it in all areas as well. Definitely.
One of the things we want to really try to create is viral loops. Now, there's this thing called a viral coefficient, which is called K, right? It doesn't really matter what letter it is. K's potassium, though, I think, right?
No, I don't know. You're very good. You're a good teacher. I don't know.
I'm not sure if that's entirely true. I don't remember my periodic table that well. But the K factor is, for each person that comes onto the platform, how many more people do they bring? If you can get a coefficient of over 1, that means for every person that joins the platform, they're going to bring another 1 person. That's where you can start getting really interesting viral loops, because you can see the exponential growth happening over time. If I bring 100 people, they bring 100 people, they bring 100 people, they bring 100 people, etc., etc.
I think this episode has just been a feast of different kind of methodologies.
Yeah.
And what have we had? We've had viral coefficients.
Yep.
We've had the innovation curve,
Fusion
adoption,
curve.
and the bell curve for adoption. What's it called? It is the
diffusion of innovation.
Diffusion of innovation.
Yeah.
We've had the business model canvas.
Absolutely.
Well, let's bring this home. Let's bring it home.
home.
So we're nearly there. The customer relationships are B2C, but also B2B.
Yeah.
Because you can go straight to the consumer, then download the app and use it. But also sell to businesses that they can get their teams in, and that's really where you're going to get a lot of scale as well, I think.
Yeah.
How you're making money is it's freemium to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
a subscription as software as a service kind of model, but also some advertising that could come on
Potentially.
maybe, but that associated to learning.
What I don't want to do is go down an advertising route and it just kills the platform.
Yeah.
I'm just not interested in doing that.
Great.
So I'll do it if it's the right thing and if it serves our users.
Great. And the key things, the key resources that you've got are your mobile and web app.
Yep.
You're venture backed, and importantly, it's got you and your brain, I think, which is the experience of the teaching experience and the entrepreneurial experience as well, creating and growing ventures. So the key things that you're doing, the key activities, or you're building the app or continuously updating it and improving it. You've got your marketing, growing this thing.
Yeah.
And then the costs associated to that are the people for the marketing and the app building, but also the paid growth channels.
Yeah, exactly.
And then finally, we've got the partners,
Mm-hmm.
which is thankfully here, Founders Factory, which we're able to record this here in the podcast studio, but also they're giving you a lot of support.
Yeah, amazing support. Yeah, they've been phenomenal across all facets of the business. So trying to figure out the right proposition, helping out with growth, kind of founder coaching, product coaching. B2B relationships, doing all of that kind of. It's almost like you've got this support team behind you that are kind of pushing you on, but also challenging you as well. So it's been really helpful.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And then the last one is your early clients.
Yeah, so valuable. I'm trying to have as many conversations with those clients as I can, and also conversations with end users as well, because there's always that. You want to make sure that you're finding out what a buyer wants to buy, but also what your end user's experience should be and what they're really looking for and the pains they're looking to solve. Early clients are so invaluable at this stage for us, yeah.
Brilliant. So that's your business model canvas for where you are now. And we also talked a little bit about the future there at certain points.
Yeah.
How has this exercise been for you, and what's it helped you understand?
Again, I think for me, we've done this before, just created a bigger kind of business plan. Because we're doing our fundraising. But what this does is it gets through a lot of that noise and all of this confusion and the complexity that's constantly revolving around my head, and gets through to exactly the signal of the specific stuff that we need to be focusing on. I can already see stuff on here, and it's making me think about things on here that I need to be doing, focusing a bit more of my attention on. So that idea of prioritization as well is really key. So one of those things, just as an example, user growth is really important, but also making sure that users are activated as much as possible as well. So how can I re-engage users better? How can I give them the support they need to get the most out of the platform, whether that's through email campaigns with existing users. What I'm also thinking, maybe doing a quick video of like a couple of explainer videos, kind of doing that education piece around the education platform, or very meta. But what else can I be doing to serve customers even better?
I should probably say as well that the Business Model Canvas is a tool created by Strategyzer. It's definitely worth checking out the book Value Proposition Design. Highly recommended if you want to find out more about it.
And testing business ideas as well.
And testing business ideas as well.
One that we always come back to. Our book of the year, right?
It's our book of the year. So definitely try both of those books. What else do we need to say?
I think we've said a whole load of stuff. I guess, the shameless plugs at the end of the session. Two things again, as always. I'll let you do the like, share, all that stuff. But Future Builders, we're open. We want people to be using it. It's completely free. You can go to futurebuilders.co. You can sign up right there. Check it out. At the moment, it's just a wait list, but we're going to be launching it again probably by the time this comes out, if not very soon afterwards. Sign up and you'll hear everything in a newsletter as we progress. Loads of new developments constantly happening. So if you've been on the platform before and you've gone, well, it's not that great, cool. It totally wasn't, but it soon will be. So we'll look out for that.
Brilliant. So if you've got some value from this session, if you've enjoyed it, please like the video. Smash it if that's the kind of thing you're into. Also, you might share it with a friend. You never know. Surely we've got friends that might be getting value from this too.
Absolutely.
So share it with them. Don't be selfish, you know.
Yeah.
Share it with a friend. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Perfect. Thank you.